spring position film room breakdowns. We've been able to talk to a lot of different position groups yesterday. We talked to some of the defensive backs. Today, we're bringing in some of the key members of Nebraska's defensive line this spring. Joining us here on Husker Chat Live, we've got Colton Feist out of Utan, Nebraska, Nash Hutmacher, South Dakota native. And then we've got Mosai Newsom, Iowa native, and then Casey Rogers joining us here on Husker Chat Live. Guys, welcome here to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. All right, well, let's get right into it. And I'll go to you first, Colton. You look at kind of a year ago, you looked like you were really in a position to maybe play some more snaps. You had an injury that happened, I believe, during fall camp. How much did that kind of set things back for you? And how anxious are you now to kind of take on more snaps this year?
Yeah, just kind of happened towards the beginning of camp. Hurt my foot, so that kind of put me out for the rest of camp. And then just coming back, it's always kind of tough to come back right away from an injury. So I'm just excited to be healthy and looking forward to the year. So,
yeah, before the injury, what did you think your role was going to be as far as how were you going to figure into that rotation a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. I thought I'd be in the rotation, definitely getting some snaps each game, and then that kind of just set me back. So this year, for sure, I'm hoping everything goes good. So.
How about you, Nash? I mean, you've had 2 years now to kind of learn and develop in the program. You came from a smaller level of football in South Dakota. How much have the last 2 years helped your body kind of get ready for maybe taking on some more snaps this year?
It's helped a lot. Just getting used to the system and how college football works, really getting into the system, getting all that figured out. Some of the older guys last year helping me to just keep increasing my football knowledge and getting ready to move into that role where I'm going to be playing a lot more snaps.
You've always been a strong guy. You're one of the better wrestlers in the country coming out of high school. How would that help transfer maybe to get you going earlier in the program? I mean, how has that helped you just to kind of get going?
It definitely just helped because a lot of guys come in, they just got to get a little bigger, a little stronger and stuff. And I was already at that level, so I got to come in right away and just focus on the technique parts of it, the actual football parts of it, not so much worrying about putting on 20 pounds in the winter or whatever it might have been. So I think that was the biggest thing for me.
Let's bring in now Mosai Newsom. Mosai, you're a guy, you talk about patience. You've really had to wait. There's been some really good players in the program at your position that you've learned from, developed from behind. What has been maybe the hardest part of just having to kind of wait for your opportunity like you've gotten this spring, and where do you think you've come the furthest?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of us, we've all kind of waited behind some of those guys. Like you said, we've had some awesome D linemen, that we could watch and learn from. We all want to play football. That's what we want to do. So I think it'll be fun coming up here to play football. But yeah, we've all learned a lot from those guys. They've taught us some great stuff just about football, kind of how to handle yourself, just, in a Division I college football setting. And that's been really awesome to learn. So, yeah.
When guys like Ben Stilley moved on and then DeAndre Thomas and Damian Daniels decided to not come back, were you like, all right, this is my chance. I've got to really take advantage of this opportunity now?
I mean, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely, going to be an opportunity for, all of us to kind of contribute and to play some meaningful snaps for Nebraska. But yeah, also along with that, it was also, it was really good to be with them, all those guys in the room, and just learn from them because they brought a lot to our program, and they were really big for our program. So it was just really a blessing to be with them.
What about you, Casey? You're a guy in 2020, kind of had a breakout season. Last year, you had the injury as well. I mean, kind of describe the injury that you went through last year that really kind of took away most of 2021 for you.
Yeah, I had a lot of really high expectations for the 2021 season. It was really unfortunate what happened. But I mean, coming off of that 2020 year, it was, things were rolling really high personally. I was really excited to be able to get back on the field and play a full season instead of whatever the abbreviated season we had. things had, unfortunately that happened, and then I had to really focus on, getting back, getting healthy, but also not pushing my knee too hard, where if I went out there, I was at risk for even more injury, because I knew in long term that I would eventually be back, and I didn't want to do it too early. But yeah, no, it was the focus kind of changed a little bit for me. Instead of having a really, really good year, I had to kind of salvage what was left for me. I got back with 7 games left, and kind of had to play my best in those 7 games. But Colton and I were kind of in the same boat at the beginning of the year. We were both injured and watching fall camp instead of participating. And I think it set a fire in both of us, and I think you'll see that this year with Colton, and then you'll see it this year with me too. So. Those injuries are behind us. We both have, rehabbed our way back to playing status, and we're excited to get back on the field. It's going to be a really fun year coming up.
Casey, you're not practicing this spring. When will you be full go, and kind of what's kept you out of the spring?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird situation, because if it was a normal spring and we were able to, and our spring game was, similar to like years past where we were playing in May, I might have been able to catch some of the spring. But, just with how the dates are and stuff like that, I just, it's probably, we'd rather be safe than sorry. We want to, like kind of like last season, we didn't want to come back too early. It's, you kind of run into, all right, we got to kind of protect you, but also make sure that, you're able to go next season as well. So yeah, it's been a different experience watching for sure. But it's also been a very helpful experience as well. So you kind of have to make good from bad there. But yeah, no, it's been a cool spring.
If you're just joining us, you're watching Husker Chat Live, Defensive Line Spring Film Edition. We're joined by Colton Feist, Nash, Hutmacher, Mosai, Newsom, Casey Rogers. Husker Chat Live is brought to you by Sandhills Global, powered by ABM. If you have equipment to sell at auctiontime.com. And if you have a question, make sure you fire it in the chat. We're getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions built up that we'll get to here in a minute. I do want to ask kind of all you guys this, and Casey, you can probably take this first because you're the veteran of the group that's played. When you hear people say the defensive line is the question mark of this team, that there's not enough there, how much does that motivate you guys to prove maybe some of the critics out there that, we can get it done with the guys we have right now?
It's very motivating. I think with any doubt from the outside, it kind of sets a fire under you. And especially it sets a fire in our room. We have 2 guys who are coming back, including myself, Ty and I, who've had that experience. But then, the guys who haven't, it's been really exciting to watch them develop this spring. And, at the beginning of the spring is kind of who's next, you know what I mean? So it's we had a lot of guys leaving, and we knew those spots were going to have to be filled. So it's been a very crucial crucial spring, I should say, for the D line. You kind of got to put those comments in one ear and out the other, because we got to stay focused on what we have to do. But yeah, it definitely sets a fire under you, and it's only more motivation to just show what we got, and how the D line is going to make a difference this year.
Colton, you're a guy that's been here too for a while. I mean, what are your thoughts? Just people kind of question this defensive line right now, and you guys might be one of the bigger questions still on this team.
Yeah, like Casey said, I think it's very motivating just to come to work every day and do everything we can to put ourselves in the best position possible. And I think we got the right guys to get it done this year. So I think our D-line will be good.
All right, let's get to the first question. It's from Steven. Wants to know, Casey Rogers, Mosai Newsom, how is the culture in the room this year? Are you guys getting the young guys schooled up, and are they starting to get nasty? And there's a group of probably like 3 or 4 young guys like Jalyn Weaver and players like that. I mean, I guess share your thoughts, guys, on that.
Yeah, it's a little bit different of a room this year. We got the outside linebackers with us this year too. So it's been a little bit of a development spring in terms of combining rooms and getting to see different faces in meetings, and even watching film. We're watching different positions too. We're not just watching the interior guys, we're watching the outside guys. But in terms of young guys, these guys are really excited. They see a lot of opportunity to be able to play this year. It's, the leadership has swung, because we had Damian in the room last year, Damian Staley, all those guys are gone. So the leadership torch is passed on. And, we got to do it. Us old guys have to do a good job of keeping that standard of black shirt football, especially in the D-line room and DN room. And it's also cool because you also get to merge with the leaders of the outside linebacker group with Caleb and Garrett. And, we kind of developed one standard for both groups, and we've been pressing that this whole spring. And I think the young guys are doing a really good job of that because, they got a lot on their plate right now. They know the opportunity they have. They have a brand new coach. There's a lot more technique that we have to learn. And, it's always tough when you get a new coach. I mean, for us young guys, I know Mo and Colton, we had Coach Dawson, but we've been coached by Coach Dawson before. So it's not so new to us, but for those guys, Coach Dawson's coaching technique and stuff like that is all new. So they've been doing a really good job. I'm excited to see, these next couple practices. They're learning more and more every day. And we've been preaching. We got to bring the nasty back. And I think last year we did a good job of starting that, and this year we're just going to keep following through with that.
Mosai, do you have anything you want to add to just kind of getting those young guys going?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's kind of been, Coach Dawson's back. It's kind of been a thing where we're all kind of learning together, and that's been cool. I think it's all kind of like Casey said. Like I know Colton Feist and Casey have had Coach Dawson before. This is my first time. This is a lot of our first time having him. So we're all kind of learning together, and I think that's pretty cool. And bringing the nasty back. We've had Jason Peter around. He's been around just kind of the facility, and we've been hearing a lot of cool stories, a lot of very motivating stories from him. It's cool to have him around just because he's been there, he's done that, he's been that guy, and so he's been an awesome, as good as an example of bringing the nasty back and just like the embodiment of kind of the black shirt defenses you can get. So it's been really cool to have him.
Colton, I'm curious. Growing up in Nebraska, did you know who Jason Peter was?
Oh yeah. I think everyone knows of him. So it's nice seeing him around though at practice and stuff. He's kind of taught us some of his ways and stuff. So I just think it's good having him around.
Nash, you got any good Jason Peter stories from being around there?
I mean, the biggest thing with JP is there is not a second when we're out in the field that he is not just the most intense guy out there. Like he gets just as revved up when he's out there with us now as he did when he was playing. He's a good guy to have out there, a good guy. He gets you going, and he's very intense when we're out there all the time, which is really good.
You're watching Husker Chat live here. Got another question here, and I'll let Colton and Nash take this one first. Wants to know, what differences have you guys seen competing against the O-line from last year to this year? From a coach, I mean, we keep hearing about Donovan Raiola's style. How do you notice it on your end with the way they're being coached and playing in spring ball? Nash, you want to go first on this one?
Right. The biggest thing you notice right away is just the technique that they're doing is a little different. It's some of the blocks they're the same blocks, but they just look and feel a little different. And they, I do think they're improving in this spring, which is awesome to see. The only way that we can get better is if they're playing good football, and the only way that we can make them better is if we're playing good football. So it's really good to have that competition. Some of the new guys they brought in, I think bringing a good culture to that room as well. And I think they're playing better football this so far this spring. So it's really like to see it.
How about you, Colton? What have you seen just from the line?
Yeah, I would say they're more coming off the ball, not so much waiting and reacting to what we're doing. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing. I think their coach is a good coach, and he's getting them going, getting them fired up. I think a lot of those offensive coaches have kind of lit a fire under some of them guys. So I think that was nice to see this spring, more competition on their side of the ball, which makes us better too. So
down below, guys, I'll pivot that question to you. Like, have you seen a lineman on the offense make a jump in terms of their play? Or like, you know what, he's gotten better with the new coaching. Is there anyone that you might want to throw out that you go against in practice that you've seen maybe make a jump this spring?
I think they're all playing. I think they're all playing really well. Just kind of what Feist and Nash said. We're obviously we're D-line, so we don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're definitely doing some stuff differently, and you can feel it when you're playing against them. I don't know. Maybe Casey's got a guy that he can point out. But.
Yeah, I've been keeping a close eye on the two new guys we've had. They've been doing a really good job. We got Hunter and we got Kevin. Both of those guys, coming from a different D1 school, it's kind of cool to kind of see the technique they bring with them from their old schools, but then they mesh in with one Coach Iola's teaching as well. They both have been going with the ones and the twos, and a lot of times the ones go against the twos in practice. So they're going against our top guys, which is really cool to see. As a young guy perspective, it's kind of cool because they're all learning. They're all every single one of them is learning a new technique. It's not just the young guys and the old guys have done this and been there for a while. It's not like that this year for them. But yeah, I agree. They're definitely doing very well. But I agree with what Nash said. It's for them to make. It's a good thing because for them to make us better, they have to play good football and vice versa for that. But yeah, no, I've been really impressed by the two new guys.
Got kind of an off the wall question here from Steven. Wants to know basically, do you consider yourself a country guy or a big city guy? Start up top there. Colton, are you a country boy or a big city guy?
Yeah, I'm a country boy.
Because UTAN is kind of Omaha, but you're far out. You're far away enough from Omaha, right?
Yeah, we're probably about 15, 20 minutes. So it's still pretty country out there.
And Nash, I know the answer from you because I've seen you like tackling wild animals for the last 5 years on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a country guy. I would much rather go visit Montana than go visit New York City, if that tells you anything. So
now you're going to Ireland. Have you scouted out any potential fishing opportunities in Ireland yet?
No, I haven't gotten to that.
Now this is something cool that they did with NIL and ABM that you had a hunting trip, right? Is that where you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that experience like? How many guys went? I'm sure you guys were able to get a lot of bird. Was it pheasant hunting?
Yeah, it was pheasant hunting. No, it was awesome. We had six hunters besides the Nebraska guys. It was me, Garrett Nelson, Isaac Gifford, and Grant Taggy were the ones that took him out. And we had 6 guys, and we went and we had dinner with them the night before the hunt. And then the next day went out hunting, shot our limit of birds, then sat around and just kind of BS'd all the rest of the day. Drove around, showed them some of the country out there by where we pheasant hunt and stuff. So it was a really cool experience and a lot of fun because, it was just cool to be able to go do something that I was going to do anyway. And, now with NIL get paid to do it. So it was a really awesome experience.
Have you been able to take like any guys on the team that have never been hunting or fishing out on I'm sure there's guys that like, I've never done this before, but I'd go with you. Have you been able to get anybody out there yet?
I haven't gotten any of the guys like that to go hunting with me due to the fact that when you ask them to go hunting and it's 20 degrees and windy out, they usually aren't that into it anymore. When it's 80 degrees and sunny in the summer and you can't go hunting, they're like, yeah, take me hunting. But then when it really comes down to it, a lot of the guys don't want to go out in the cold when it's time to go hunting.
How about you, Mosai? Are you you're from Waverly, Shell Rock, Iowa, right?
Right. Yep.
Describe Waverly Shell Rock because it's not probably on the radar for a lot of Nebraskans.
Yeah, Waverly. I'm from Waverly. Shell Rock is the kind of neighboring town. We're consolidated school. It's about 15 minutes from Cedar Falls, Iowa, where University of Northern Iowa is, where you guys at. Northeast Iowa. So I'd say Waverly's a little bit on the countryside. It's definitely on the countryside, actually. I think I can do both. I like to think that I can do both, so I'd put myself right in the middle there. I got a lot of I enjoy going out and fishing. Grew up in a small town farm setting, so it's just a lot of good people there for sure.
How many people ask you if you're from Waverly, Nebraska when you say that? Because I'm sure that was pretty confusing when you first pulled into Lincoln, seeing that there was a Waverly right on the edge of Lincoln too.
Yeah, that was a lot of people. A lot of people ask, like, "You sure you're not from Waverly, Nebraska?" I said, "Nope." But yeah, it's a lot of people ask. That was very very kind of cool to see. Driving into Lincoln on my first time, I was like, oh wow, Waverly's not too far away, you know.
Now, Casey, your story is pretty unique because you grew up the son of a coach, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
did you move around quite a bit as a kid? I mean, kind of.
Luckily, we didn't. You know, a lot of times with coaches and their families, it's you know, that's kind of the common thing is they're kind of bouncing around from school to school. Fortunate for my family and I, we were able to stay. Well, since I've been alive, my dad was at 3 schools and he was at 1 school for 17 years. So we've been really steady. I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and then moved to another part of upstate New York, which is called Cortland, and then we went 30 minutes north to Syracuse, where I basically stayed, you know, throughout high school, middle school, and elementary school. So yeah, I mean, we've been kind of in Syracuse for a majority of my life.
So you consider Syracuse home, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Yeah.
What is Syracuse like? I mean, it's so far away from New York City. I mean, what's it like in that community there? Obviously, the Orangemen, that's probably a big part of the community out there.
Oh, yeah. It's huge. It's, you know, they say, you know, Syracuse is New York's college team. It's the only power, other than, well, I guess Rutgers is in New Jersey, but it's really the only Power 5 football team in the state. You know, huge lacrosse school, and as you know, ACC basketball with their men's basketball team is also enormous as well. But to be honest, and the reason why I like Lincoln so much is because it reminds me a lot of Syracuse. You know, it's dead smack in the middle of the state, so it's pretty. You know, it's not too far of a drive to Buffalo, and then you know, Albany's the exact other way, and then you know you go a little south and you're in the city. So it's awesome. But yeah, no, the city's right circulated around the college. Syracuse University is kind of dead smack in the city. You know, the skyline's pretty neat because the Carrier Dome is kind of you know, the center of it, which is when you're coming into Syracuse, it's pretty cool to see. But yeah, no, Syracuse is definitely a special place for me.
Do they play the state football finals in the Carrier Dome there for like the big classes?
Yeah. Yes, they do. They use those. New York high school football is divided up into sections. They have section 3 championship, which is the Syracuse area, and then yeah, the state championships back in the Dome. They used to have a north and south game where all the upstate guys would play the guys from downstate, and that was in the Dome too. But they stopped doing that.
All right, got another question here from Brett. Wants to know about guys like Jalyn Weaver and Ruquan Buckley. How are they progressing? Obviously, haven't been able to get on the field much, but both physically look the part. What have you guys seen? I guess who would want to take this one on these guys?
I'll take this one. I think Ruquan's doing. We'll start with Ruquan. I think he's doing a very good job. You know, I think when he first got here, he was raw. You know, he was very athletic, but you know, football wise, he had to do some learning, and you know, he's definitely done that. And you know, this year he sees the opportunity for a much bigger role than he had last year, and he's kind of taken that and ran. You know, it's tough for any young D lineman to come in and really make a difference right away. And you know, he's still young, which is awesome. You know, it's hard because you know, you don't really realize how young he actually is until you ask him his age. But yeah, no, he's doing a really good job. Jalyn's doing a good job too. You know, Jalyn came in pretty big, was asked to lose some weight, and he's doing that. And you know, he's doing the same thing. He's learning, and it's a very important spring for those two because you know, it's the technique they're learning and you know, the speed of the game, all that stuff is something they'll be able to use for this upcoming season if their numbers call.
Got a question from Brian. And all you guys can take this one. Name one player, and I'll say newcomer maybe on this. Name a newcomer that has stood out on offense, and then maybe a guy on defense as well, since there's so many new faces. Colton and Nash, you guys can start first on this one.
Yeah, I would say on the offense, Trey Palmer. I think he's been making some good plays from what I've been seeing. Defense.
Yeah. For defense, for me, I think it'll be Ernest Hausman, middle linebacker. He moves well. He's picking up the defense pretty quick, and he is. I think he's gonna be a good player once he develops and gets his football IQ up, learns the defense, just starts playing smoother. Once he starts to figure things out, I think Ernest Ernest has a lot of potential and could be a really good linebacker for Nebraska.
All right, they're Trey Palmer, Ernest Hausman, Mosai, and Casey. Who do you guys have down there?
Offensively, I was going to say the same thing as Feist. I think Trey Palmer he's balling. He's actually my locker partner, my locker neighbor, so I get to kind of talk to him every day. But he's having a good spring. He's making some really good plays, and he's really fitting into the offense nicely.
Offensively, I'm going to say Anthony Grant. I think he's doing a really good job. I've seen a lot of really he hits the hole really hard, and he has really good breakaway speed too. And, he's very agile when he goes left and right. He's made a lot of people miss in some of the scrimmages we've had. I'm really excited to see him run the ball in the Big Ten. And defensively, I'm gonna say Tommy Hill. He's made a lot of really good plays coming in from Arizona State, and you knew he was good, but I think it's been really surprising to see how well he's adapted to Big Ten style football, and he does a great job on breaking on balls. He's always breaking up passes and stuff like that. He's a guy who's gonna make a big play in a big game, and he's very trustworthy with that. So it's been fun to watch those two guys come in and play.
Colton, this one's for you. Are you as good of a punter as your stepbrother Christian?
I don't think kicking's in the equation. I don't think that's my cup of tea.
Alex has one for Nash. What's the biggest walleye you've caught, inches and weight?
Oh, the biggest walleye is probably, I don't know the weight exactly. It's probably 7 to 8-ish pounds. And then probably, I don't even remember how long it was, I guess. Probably 28, 29 maybe. But yeah, no, I remember it was at Lake Sharp. I was up there with one of my buddies. We were fishing, and when I thought it was a catfish at first. Then when I pulled it up and saw it for the first time, it was a walleye. I couldn't believe it. So,
been to Lake Sharp many times. It's a great place to go. All right, this is kind of an off the wall one for all of you guys. Who could throw down the most food? And I'll let you guys down below start first. What's the biggest steak or most wing? I mean, give us some insight of what a big defensive lineman can throw down at the table.
I think Nash. Feist or Nash? I don't know.
I don't think it's Nash. I think it's deceiving. Nash might look like he could house some wings, but I don't think you could.
I think it's Feist.
I'm going with Scuzz. Yeah, Feist.
Yeah, it's Feist.
Feist.
He can. I've seen Feist throw down some food for sure.
Yeah, Feist definitely can throw down some food.
What are you guys? Do they make you guys kind of watch what you eat, or how strict are they with linemen and kind of monitoring your body fat and your weight?
When you first get here, if you're they do a good job. If you're underweight or you need to lose weight, they're on top of you. Once you've achieved your weight goal, it's kind of up to you to really make sure you're doing the right things. But they do a good job of helping us with that. At the end of the day, you're responsible for your weight. It's not them. So, but they definitely give you the tools to do that. Dave Ellis does and his staff do a tremendous job of, giving us the support we need to be able to have, maintain our diets and calories that we need so it's it really depends on the situation. And the other thing is too, all of our bodies are very different too. So Dave does a really good job of customizing if you have to have a custom diet, he's on top of that. And but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to keep your weight where it needs to be.
All right, this one's who's the strongest on the team? And I know Nash has got to be in that conversation. I want to start with this part first. Nash, what's your bench and squat maxes right now?
Right now, my squat's probably up there around like 800 pounds, and my bench is probably 450-ish, somewhere in there. Maybe, I don't know for sure on them, but that's where I would estimate them at probably.
So 450 bench, 800 squat. Colton, is there anyone else that puts up, who else puts up numbers like that in the weight room?
Ty Robinson, Damian Jackson. That's probably about it. Casey Rogers, he can put up some weight.
So you guys have a pretty good lead on those offensive linemen right now. How about you guys down below? You got anything to add on the weight room?
Well, when Djax is healthy, he's definitely one of them. Obviously, Nash can throw some weight around. I think the D line in general is very strong. Coach Duval has done a great job of making sure that happened. And but yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think Nash and Nash is probably the strongest.
Probably.
Mosai, is your brother going to come to Nebraska?
He's taking his visits. I know he's enjoying the recruiting process. He's enjoying going everywhere. He's been here a lot. Whenever he comes here, it's always, I think it's always a really good time for him because he's buddies with a lot of my buddies that are here. He gets to, kind of get in-depth look at Nebraska football, which is really good for him to see. So I don't know. He's gonna continue to enjoy his recruiting process. I really hope he does. I want to play with him, so it's gonna be good.
And then final question here as we wrap up Husker Chat Live, and all of you can chime in on this one. I'll start up top, but not only the defensive line room, but who's the funniest guy on the football team? Like, who's the guy that constantly has everybody laughing? And it may not even be intentionally. He's just funny by everything he does. Colton, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, Caleb Tanner's a pretty funny guy. He can get you to chuckle pretty good, and it's about an everyday deal. So that's probably who I would say.
I think Caleb he's one of the funniest guys on the team, and I think Ruquan Buckley too is an underrated funny guy on the team. He makes me laugh a lot. I don't know about everyone else, but he sure makes me laugh. So,
who's the funniest coach?
Dawson. Yeah, I mean, I honestly I think Coach Dawson. That guy, I'm around him the most, so I might be biased just because I'm around him more than other coaches, but I think he is hilarious.
How about you guys down below? Funniest player, funniest coach on the team?
I think that kind of what they said, Coach Dawson's got some good things to say. I think Coach Duval has some pretty funny things also every once in a while. He's got some good jokes, some good things when he chimes in. And yeah, Ruquan is that's my dog. He is a funny guy. He will make some jokes that kind of make you think, and then you start laughing because you realize what he said. But
yeah, I agree with Caleb Tanner. I think it's the reason why it's so funny is because half of the stuff he says is accidentally funny. He'll say something and it's naturally just hilarious. But yeah, no, I agree with Ruquan too. His personality is he's a funny guy, and then Coach Dawson is just when he's in the mood, he's hilarious. So it's yeah, I would give that trophy to Coach Dawson.
Well, Colton, Nash, Mosai, Casey, we appreciate you guys taking some time out to join us here on Husker Chat Live.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that wraps it up here for this edition of Husker Chat Live. Once again, Husker Chat Live is brought to you by Sandhills Global and powered by ABM. If you have equipment to sell it at auctiontime.com. For HuskerOnline.com, I'm Sean Callahan.